Hello guys, Alex here with NA Mustangs. So today we're going to be working on the 67 Mustang here behind me. And what I'm going to be doing is replacing the trunk filler tray. I think that's what it's called. So what that is this part back here. And the reason that I am replacing this part here is, as you can see, well, not too bad here, but you get rust spots here where the windshield rides. Windshield goes in here with a piece of rubber. There's chrome trim that goes all the way around, and usually with your old Mustangs, 65 to 73, they might get some buildup. So as you can see here, there is some rust holes on there all the way around. So with that said, I'm gonna get that replaced. So only this corner has those holes here, and that's pretty much, they could have it all the way around. So this is the new tray here. Picked this up from CJ Pony Parts. I honestly don't remember if it was maybe like $50, $60 around there, but not too bad. Hard part is to replace it. So follow along. I'm just gonna do it with pretty much normal tools I have. Gonna use a grinder to cut it off, and just follow along so you can see how to do it. You do have to remove the trunk. It is easier to work in there with the trunk removed, because this part comes all the way back here. So I'm gonna get started removing the trunk, and then I'll see underneath if there's anything else that I'm gonna have to cut before we can start cutting it out. So follow along. Alright guys, so far I realized that there is like an inner metal piece down here. It's almost like a reinforcement for this place, or this plate, I guess. It is spot welded here along the top, so you can kind of see where the spot welds are. This little like dimples. So I'm gonna get those drilled out, just because we'll have to weld the new one to that one. We will probably get it welded from the bottom up. So anyways, we'll get those drilled out in here. What I'm gonna do first is pretty much just rough cut. So I'm gonna cut this, kind of here, right at the corner probably, because this goes all the way in, all the way around. Probably just down here. Just because that way I can get that out of the way. I'll drill the spot welds first, get that cut, get it out. And then up here, I think there are spot welds, but there might be from the inside. So we'll try to get those welded or drilled out as well, just so that way we can have a place to weld a new one too. So worst case scenario, we'll just sand this old one off or grind it off, and you'll have the inside piece in there, and you can always just drill holes to weld that new one down. And since this gets covered by the seal and everything, you can always weld right at the edge, and then just sand it. So I would still drill the holes and weld it, but then you can also weld on the edge. So we'll go ahead and do that next. Alright, so far I did I drilled all the spout welds here on the bottom, and most of the ones on top, on that end, I can't really tell where they are. So once I cut the ends, I'll see where I have to drill more. You saw on there, this one works way better, and I have the brand, but I'll let you know. Just the way it has a drill bit in the middle, and it just drills the hole, and then this one drills the spout weld. This ones work really well. They're not too expensive, but they're, see, like this one's worn out, so this little centerpiece is what's supposed to center it, and once it's kind of wobbly, it just, you know, goes one way or the other. So I don't have any more replacements for the center, so these ones are not that expensive, but they wear out a lot faster. What I'm gonna do now is get the grinder and cut the ends, and then hopefully I can remove that panel. Alright, so I got this tray out for you guys. So you can see, I had a little bit of trouble here with the spout weld, so and I'll just get my little dolly and strain this out, so I'm gonna weld it to the new one. So, but it came out pretty good. Decently, so you can see all like kind of the surface rust on the back of this. You know, old cars, they, well, moisture, things like that. At some point, I mean, I owned this car for, I don't know, I think like 12, 13 years now, and well, it looks like it was even worse than I thought. Here are the holes, so you can see through here. And I'm real surprised this tape, but it looks like there was some tape on the back here. And then, I don't know if this is that like epoxy putty or what was put in here back here. Some kind of sitting here on the back, since it was quite a bit. Some of it's not even hard. Maybe JB weld, I don't know. But that's crazy. There's big pieces. It's kind of like putty clay, I guess. I don't know. And some over here. Anyways, yeah, so someone had filled those holes at some point. So, I mean, I guess they kind of stopped some of the water from going in, but anyways, I do still have to cut the pieces here. I found one of the spot welds. I think there's some here on the edge. I'll just have to figure out where. And then this part here, I think it has some on the inside here, so I'll have to drill these out. For sure I'm just gonna cut it anyways, and I can always just kind of grind it down all the way, but I have to figure out, you know, where I need to drill holes to weld it. This part is okay. Like I said, there is some surface kind of rust in here. I'm gonna clean it up with my wheel brush. I'll clean up everything. Looks like you might have some of the body panel adhesive in here. Maybe just some seam sealer in between. You know, obviously you don't want water to get in there, but there are slightly on this side. I see. I don't know if that's, yeah. This is a little small hole there. Small hole here, so that's not going to be covered by the new piece. But I'm gonna get a little piece of probably even that same metal here, or another piece of metal, and then I can get behind here so I can, you know, cut. There's only a little bit I need to cut. I think this was a clip for the moldings to go in, but this one's a little bit bigger. Looky there, some tape with putty on it. So definitely I'll sand it down, whatever's rusted. I'm gonna put a piece of metal and weld it. I'll paint this with the rust encapsulator and weld through primer here on the ends where I'm gonna weld, and we'll put the new piece back in there. So overall not too bad. I mean, this broke here at the end, but I can weld it before I weld everything. You know, it's pretty good. So this should come right in here and drop in. Obviously, you know, it has these pieces at the end, so it's not going to drop in right now, but once I get those pieces out, it'll go right in there. So that's just part of, you know, dealing with an old car. I already replaced the floorboards on this car. I did some of the, I need this tail light panel. I did it as well. And this little corner piece here on the trunk. And I need to primer this a little bit, but you know, mostly I've been working a little bit on it. I do need to get some of the prime sealer, since there's a lot of bare metal on it, you know, spray on it. It doesn't really see the water, but once in a while if I wash it, I see a little bit of surface rust, which I'll get off before I, you know, put anything on there. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and cut those out next, and then we'll go from there. pieces, cut it off here on the end. Gonna move this here so I can show you guys a little bit better. Bear with me. All right, so I went ahead and got the pieces off here cut off. So this is where it'll be welded, and then I'm gonna get back here and weld on the inside here underneath the trunk. These I'm gonna go ahead and drill all the way through. That way I can come back from the inside and weld them right underneath. So I really don't want to cut the new panel and weld from the outside. I think it would be best if I weld through the inside. So just that way there is less likely that I have any, you know, any leaks under from the window or anything like that. I still need to work a little bit more of the metal around. As you can see, so, but it's pretty good in there. You know, we're gonna just go ahead and massage, you know, sand a little bit here around the edges. Get everything fit in there nicely, and then get it ready for welding. So this I have to open up a little bit and then just clamp it really tight so I can weld it. You know, you put a little bit of a seam sealer here on the edge. That's how the car came with originally. Same in here on top, you always had that little line with seam sealer on there. So this does have to go a little bit down. Not too bad though. You can see it's pretty much touching here on the back. So overall pretty good. Like I said, I do have still with the replacement panels, you always have to make sure that they fit in the car. Don't expect them to be perfect. One, because it's reproduction. Two, I don't think every car is exactly the same, especially on the old ones. I can see the new ones with the new, you know, where they make them, everything is quality controlled, everything has to be the same. But the old ones, you know, everything was a little bit more hand built, hand welded together kind of. So, you know, things are a little bit off from one car to the other. So, you know, don't expect your replacement panels to be 100%. You always have to cut a little bit off of them. So this one here, I mean, it fits pretty good. Once I get all welded and everything, you know, I'll get it tight as tight as I can. Again, this is kind of a do-it-yourself work here, so you know, if you pay someone that's going to charge you $5,000 to do something like this, then yeah, you probably want it to be, you know, close to perfect. But if you're doing it yourself, you don't mind it being, you know, slightly off. I mean, I don't think no one would notice, but by all means, that's how I am. So I'm just doing it myself. It looks pretty good to me. I don't have those big holes here. That's the main thing. I'm gonna patch those holes on the end. I'm gonna clean up everything. I'm gonna get my hayliner out of here. I am going to do one of the one-piece headliners, so I'm not gonna be using that one anyways. I already ripped it anyway, so it's not like I could use it, but I'll clean everything around because I want to make sure that it's clean, perfect for paint and everything. But pretty good progress. So next is gonna be, you know, getting it welded and then pretty much finishing it up. All right, so what I'm gonna do next here on this piece, I'm gonna get my drill and drill holes all the way through where the spot welds were here on the car. And The reason I want to do that is because if I drill them here on this piece, and I weld it, but then you'll have, you know, all the spots. And it's going to be really hard to sand here because this is where the glass is going to go. You know, I want it to be a nice smooth surface. So I'm going to drill the holes on the car side, weld it from the inside, and, you know, I'll get the grinder in there, but even if I can't get in there as good as I would want to, it would be okay because it's on the inside. And, you know, with the rubber gasket that goes around here, you really can't see the inside that much. So, you know, I'm not worried about that. Same thing on the trunk side. I'm gonna, instead of drilling the holes, not too sure if you can see that really well, but instead of drilling the holes here where, you know, water's gonna go on, you know, we already have the holes here on the bottom anyway, some of them, so I'm gonna drill more, or all the way through on some of these, and I'll weld from the bottom. So, you know, same here on the edge. This one's to go against the side here, it already has a hole here, so I'm just gonna weld from the inside, you know, and we'll go after that. So the panel almost fits perfectly in place where it's supposed to be. I think I just have to pretty much, you know, finish here on the edges a little bit, but so far it looks pretty good. One thing to note on these two is factory, the car had a seal here, like a seam seal right here on top. So once you weld it, or once it was welded in there, they went ahead and put seam sealer right here on the edge. Personally, I'm not sure if I am gonna leave that kind of like the seam sealer here on top, or I might just go ahead and weld here on the top. Because I can always weld, sand, and then I can always put a little bit of body filler. I really don't mind doing that rather than having that seam sealer there. You know, either way, I mean, the right way is to just leave it and then put seam sealer, but I'll see what I decide to do after. So let's get all those holes drilled here and we'll go after that. Alright guys, so we got, I got everything drilled out, all the holes there drilled out underneath, and I pretty much just put the panel here just kind of to see how it's going to be. So I got this C-clamp here holding it down, so this is pretty good, pretty tight here. I might put another C-clamp down all the way down here once I'm going to weld it, just because when you're welding, usually the panels try to, you know, come apart from each other. So if you hold them together, they'll make it easier. There's two holes here that I'll probably fill. When I bought the car, there used to be like a switch here for the trunk that someone had drilled these holes to mount it to. So I'm gonna weld those in. I don't think I'll need those, and if I do put a switch, I'll put it somewhere else. The other thing is here, like I said before, normally this had just the kind of like the seam sealer. You know, you I got the piece here on the bottom, so I'll tighten it together. It kind of goes together a little bit, and then seam seal it. So that's the part, you know, here on top. If, like I said, I might just weld it and just kind of sand it evenly all the way down. If I ever really have to replace this part, I mean, you still have to cut it all out anyway. So, or I might just put seam sealer. I don't know yet. Here on the top, everything is good. I do have this hole here that was on the body there. So instead of getting a whole new roof, I am just gonna patch that. So I'll cut a little piece of steel. I have access to the back. I'm gonna clean this up and then just weld it as I'm welding all this in here. But everything else is pretty good in place. This side is pretty good too. Pretty tight here. Same thing, I'll put another clamp here when I'm gonna weld it. I did notice this new panel here at the edge. It's actually bowing down. At first I thought it wasn't matching correctly, but looking at the other side is kind of straight, so it, you know, it flows with the body line. This is kind of bowing down here at the corner, so I don't know if in shipping it, you know, it got dropped, it kind of bent a little. So I'm probably gonna bend it back. That way it's a little bit more, you know, it's straight like on that side. And then same thing here. There's a small little hole here on the top. This one's smaller, but I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, just patch that up as I weld everything together. So pretty much everything is good to go. I was cleaning with the wire brush, so getting some of that surface kind of rust on that panel. I'm gonna spray all this with the sealer primer, and then everything that's where the welding, I have the weld through primer. That way it welds through, so you don't have to worry about, you know, not having primer. I'm gonna get this thing bent now and then start probably clean a little bit more before I primer everything. And then we'll see if we can get this welded on here in just a bit. Alright guys, so I got this pretty much in there. I sanded everything down. It looks pretty good as far as fitment. So I just wanted to make sure everything fit good. This is how I'm gonna kind of clamp everything down when I'm ready to weld. So I did weld that little piece that was broken there on the bottom piece just before I put this on. But you know, really important, I'm gonna primer everything before we get started on welding. So I just want to see or show you guys how everything's gonna look. So everything is pretty even, matching up. It's clamped down, so you know everything is nice and tight here on the ends. So I'm gonna take this off, primer underneath, and then we'll put it back on there and start welding. Alright guys, so I got this welded on there, pretty much taken care of. As you can see, You can kind of tell some of the spots where I welded. You can kind of see a little bit darker, but it's all welded from underneath. All the way in the window. The hardest part was doing behind the window. You know, it's just kind of not a lot of room right back here, but down here it's not bad. So what I'm gonna do is get the grinder, just grind off the welds pretty much, and that's it, you know. Here on the edge, factory had some seam sealers, so you'd want to put seam sealer there just to make sure the water doesn't get in. Same thing right here, so you just want to put a thin coat seam sealer and do all your body work there. So I still do need to weld that little hole there in the corner, but I'll do that another time. You know, that's just a matter of you get a little piece of metal on the back and then you can just weld it in. So everything looks pretty good. I hope you guys liked the video. You know, this is pretty much the same basic process when you're doing any body panel replacement, anything that's rusted out. So cut it out, get the new panel, and then just weld it in. So not too bad, really. You know, you can do it yourself. Just get yourself a cheap little welder like this. That's like $120 at Harbor Freight, and you can, you know, replace all your panels. Really, if you're working on a car, you're on a budget. You know, that's what I did. Like I said, I replaced this back panel. I replaced my floorboards. I replaced the front piece on the engine. So anyone can do it. So please stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be doing more videos on this car as well. There's a lot more, well, as you can see, there's a lot of work to be done to it. So engine work, body work, electrical, pretty much everything has to be done. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please hit the thumbs up. Thank you for watching.